Oh no. Is it still live? Wait.
Yeah, it's still live,
Oh,
I believe.
I closed out the tab. Okay, might be. Anyways, let's get started. I have to share my screen. Okay, now that we are completely situated correctly this time, welcome back to Senate. We are in Senate session number 7. That's a lot of S sounds on November 3rd, 2021. Up first, roll call. Joel, how many voting members are present?
By my current count, as people have been asking in the chat, we do indeed have quorum with 23 wonderful voting members with us.
Perfect. Thank you for that. With that, let's go right into our agenda. Up first, we have 3 org proposals with Hawk House, IIT RPG, and Comedy Club. And then we have a super fun resolution on the preservation of the SGA logo. And then exec report, Senator Spotlight, Senator reports, open floor, and then hopefully adjournment. Now, if you are an org presenting, I will be giving voting results after open floor. So you feel free to leave after you present or stay. With that being said, up first is Hawk House. Are you guys present?
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Okay. Do you guys have a
And we
presentation?
don't have any slides or anything. We're just going to talk.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, so hello, everyone. My name is Samir Sheikh,
I'm Elise Hassani.
and we are here to represent Hawk House. So for those of you who don't know what Hawk House is a service that is on campus that is marketed towards commuter students. Basically, we serve as a hoteling system for students who want to stay overnight on campus but don't live on campus. So during finals week or midterms week, if you're a commuter student who lives on campus and you have like a very late class or a very early morning class, and you don't feel like going home because it's too far or not safe, you would be able to stay the night in MSV and be on campus safely. For a nightly fee of about $20 or so, we get students to spend one night in the dorm. So the reason now, Hawk House was a project that was been worked on by SGA and several other students, both within and outside of SGA, for the past year. We are currently working on a pilot program, and the reason we're here today and we're trying to become an org is because one of Hawk House's goals is to hold student engaging events for IIT's commuter student population. Right now, there are no organizations that are dedicated towards commuter students. And while Hawk House is not necessarily trying to replace those student organizations, we are currently the only student organization who is actively targeting commuter students solely. And so for engaging with our commuter students, we need to host events. And we need to hold events and engagement. And in order to do this, we would want SAF funding, because these events are, even though they are marketed towards the commuter student population, they are still going to be accessible to all of the student body. So yeah, that's pretty much it, our pitch. If anyone has any questions about Hawk House,
I can answer them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Samir. That being said, we can enter into our 5-minute questioning period. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. And let's get this timer started. Garrett.
All right. Hey, Samir. Like the presentation, thank you for introducing that. When I was reading the proposal, there was one kind of concern that I had, and it's just like the general train of things. It looked like in the proposal, the things that you wanted like request money for were like promotional events to like advertise what Hawk House is and show it off to the campus community and things like that nature, which is fine. But Hawk House itself is a pay for service where people have to spend $20 to use the service, and that money doesn't go back into the SAF. It goes into like the university's pocket, does not go back into the SAF. So it seems kind of to me like, can you explain that discrepancy?
Hi. So our main purpose for the events is not marketing. That's a plus, but our main focus is just creating a space for commuter students to socialize. And I've been a commuter for 3 of the 4 years I've been here, and it was pretty difficult for me to build. A lot of commuter students have this relation with IIT, just a genuine inability to build greater circles when your time at IIT is just classes. So while we do want to make them aware of the service, our focus is just for these events is social.
And also regarding the $20 fee, that doesn't necessarily go into the, I guess it's arguable, like it goes into sustaining Hawk House. We use the money to sustain like the operations for Hawk House. So yeah, if that helps answer any questions.
Thank you for that, Derek and Samir and Ollie. Up next, we have Elio.
Hi, thank you so much. Again, I want to reiterate, well, I haven't reiterated, but this was a great presentation and I absolutely love the idea, but I do have one question. So as you know, MSV is part of the Office of Residence Life, which includes all of the dormitories here on campus. How would you get around making this something where it's like a temporary dormitory for commuter students that don't necessarily have a residence here on campus? As you know, most of the dorms are paid residences. How would you make it happen so that commuter students can rent a night here in the dorms at MSV?
Hey, Hawk House is already running service. We have a consistent flow of customers staying here. It's using the grad hall, which we are in right now. The grad hall of MSV. If you walk into MSV, our sign is right there in the middle. So it was a bit of there was a lot of disputes and legal hurdles to get past in creating Hawk House, which we mostly overcame during the summer. And by the early start of the fall semester, we were running. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Elio and you guys. Up next, we have Naeem. And then also we have a minute left. So if we want to keep asking questions, a motion to extend questioning time will need to be made.
Sure thing. Since Ryan has a question, I move to extend questioning by about 3 minutes. I'll go with 3. Second me if you can, John.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Time has been extended for 3 minutes. Naeem, go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, so my question was mainly in regard to well, for one, Samir, I want to ask, would you consider collaborating with RHA on any potential resident commuter collaboration events? I wanted to ask that to both Samir and Ali, see if that was something you consider doing in the future, maybe next semester.
Absolutely. In fact, yeah, that's we have a lot of collaborations planned with other organizations. We have plans of collaborating with Union Board, and we would absolutely love a collaboration with RHA. In fact, I actually think it's necessary in order for the success for our events. So yeah, we're going to need a lot of support. Well, not, let me rephrase that. We're going to be doing a lot of collaboration with RHA and the RAs of MSV.
Wonderful,
yeah.
wonderful. I have a second question, but since Ryan has his hand up, I'll let him go first.
Hi. Wyatt actually just answered my question. I was going to ask if this was focused on just the social events, and I saw that in there. So the comment there elucidated everything that I needed.
Sure.
Okay,
worries.
then
Thank
back
you.
to Naeem.
Yes, my next question was, considering the state of MSV, Samir and Ali, and the fact that we all know MSV might not be here in about another 3 to 5 years-ish, what are the plans for Hawk House to eventually maybe transcend the current space it's in the future?
Hi, so we don't have any direct plans for moving the entire program to a separate building anytime soon. And MSV has a good another 3 years, so. But we do have plans for just general sustainability of the program. I'm the lead operations, so something we're really trying to work on right now is making the payment system as simple as possible for both cash and credit, and yeah, just allowing students to pay on more immediate circumstances and get to stay the night.
And I would also like to add, right now we're still in our pilot program. So this is like the first semester where Hawk House is operational. So we're still kind of in a trial mode phase. However, yeah, we're currently working under April Welch, who's the AVP of IIT. And she's the one with like all the big future plans. So if Hawk House is a success, and if our trial run is a success, which so far it seems to be going well, yeah, we're going to be we're going to be present elsewhere, even if MSV later on gets demolished. So
Thank you for that. With that being said, our questioning period has now ended. Unless somebody has more questions, aka wants to make another motion to extend. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve. Oh, the motion to approve has been made. Is there a second? And there's the second. With that being said, thank you, Samir and Ollie. But please refrain from voting. Also, I'm gonna move you into a waiting room just to stick with procedure.
thank you all for your support, and we love you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, we have now entered our 5-minute discussion period. If you have things you want to say, raise your hand or type them in the chat and I'll say them for you. Okay, the timer has started. Derek. Wait.
So in general, I like what Hawk House is as a standing entity on campus, but I personally have a little bit of concern about it becoming a student organization, mainly because like what I was talking about earlier, Hawk House right now is intended to be a source for students to come and, stay the night if they need to, if they can't get home late at night or whatever, paying $20, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. Hawk House has its own budget. It's a separate entity from it is an entity within the school. It is not an organization as it stands. They want to become an organization to create commuter student events. But when I look at their proposal, I can't get over the fact that it's movie nights, study nights, promotion on the MTCC bridge, raffles and giveaways, and collaboration with other organizations. Specifically about promotion and raffles and giveaways, how I'm understanding this is that they want to use the SAF to promote this, service, which ultimately makes money for the university. The money doesn't go back into the SAF. I feel like it's kind of a hidden intent for the university to try to get some extra money without spending too much extra money. They want to use the SAF so they can profit from it. That's kind of how I feel about this organization. I'm all for supporting commuter students. I don't feel like this is really going to help with that, though.
Thank you for that, Derek. Scotty.
Hello, how's it going? So this is kind of in response to Derek and maybe some other people's concerns, but I think we're a little too quick to point the finger because I know a lot of the clubs on campus, they offer many services and a lot of other things, but they do promote a lot. They give away free things and they also use the SAF and get outside donors for a lot of events. I've been in a club where they get outside donations as well as SAF money. So I think just because they're doing the same thing, it shouldn't be as much of an issue. And if that's the case, then we should overlook all of these organizations that are already doing this. And then on top of that, in terms of like the profiting, again, they've worked closely with Office of Residence Life, and I could tell you that they really don't make much profit. And when I've talked to the former Office of Residence Life head, he said that there won't be any profit really being made off of this at all. And again, it's $20, and I could tell you most of the $20 probably goes to the staff that works for IIT that has to keep these beds clean. And so far, it's been frequently used by a lot of students. And also, I think it's a great idea for the potential of a safe place for students to stay if they aren't feeling well, but they're a commuter, if they have an exam. There's a lot of great potential, and I think an org for this would just help support and give other students more opportunities to become leaders and work in, practice in maybe an industry that provides services. So.
Thank you for that, Scotty. Sandy. And then also just a warning, we have 1 minute and 33 seconds left.
I was going to agree with Jason. I worked over the summer and helping them with the budget just because I'm a business major. All of their items were literally trying to minimize the cost for students, like making sure like the necessary items for sanitation and COVID protocols. I think the Hawk House has not only like helped students because it's really cheap, it's on campus, but also like they pointed out, it provides like student employment opportunities because most of them are students. And I think at the end of the day, SAF money is paid for by students. Like, I don't think a university really profits off because it's really cheap, $20. And the students who are commuters pay their money, which is a mandatory fee. So I don't think it's really wrong that they want to create that environment. And maybe they do want to watch a movie. Maybe there is a giveaway, but I don't think that's anything out of the ordinary of many other clubs. And I don't think it's fair just because it seems like inadequate use. I think it's still okay to have that money distributed to students who pay a fee.
Thank you for that, Sandy. I know there's been a few comments made in the chat. Derek says to me, this is the equivalent of Chartwell's using students to create an org to promote Chartwell services. So we're using student money to advertise student services that students will still have to pay for. With that being said, we have 5 seconds left. Or Patrick. Or wait, no, we need to make a motion to extend time. By how much? 2 minutes. And second.
Hello, seconded.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick.
So my question is, if the cost of the $20 is to pay for the students to work there, aren't the students under a federal work study technically, and then it's the federal government that's paying them or the schools distributing that federal money through them. So technically, the school isn't even paying for it. So it's kind of just the government paying for it. So it's kind of just a business for the school that has it. I'm not too familiar with it, but I just don't feel too comfortable with it, even if it is a non-for-profit, just a business as a whole getting SAF funding when it should just be organizations.
Thank you for that. Some of the comments in there, Rachel says the difference is that this is a student service created by and for students. Scotty says highly disagree, and student money is already being used to advertise for clubs on top of their donor funding. Sandy says regardless, students have to pay for the SAF. It should be fair use. And then Sandy also said fair use for students to use that money for activities that are towards activities, which is what the SAF is for. With that being said, our 7-minute discussion period has ended. At this point, Joel released the voting form. And we'll get started on our next work presentation. I'm gonna let them back in. And our next club is IIT TRPG. Are you guys present?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. Do you have a presentation or anything?
No, it's strictly verbal.
Okay, perfect.
All right. So this all kind of started out with last year when I joined and looked at the organizations, and I realized that despite this being a tech school, there are no there's a club for Warhammer, there's a club for Magic the Gathering, but there's nothing for Dungeons and Dragons or tabletops. And as I've kind of progressed through a year and a couple months here at IIT, almost everybody is either wanting to play Dungeons and Dragons or a tabletop or already does. So I thought that this club could spearhead two separate things. First, it could have people who don't have a friend or don't have a group to play with, as there are some people that are perhaps in groups that just don't want to or don't feel comfortable. And secondly, I believe this could also just create a general environment where people that like it can group up together and go to various events, meet like-minded people, and perhaps gain a better social network at the same time. The events we have planned out is I would like to have both rent out school areas for individual areas, for example, a small classroom for a session to play in. As an example, I and my friend group, we play out in the K6 Floor 6 Lounge, but let's say that people are there, we don't really have a place to go to. Now, if we did it through this club, we could say, oh, this room is open Friday from 6 to 10, reserved for a group, and you guys can come and play in that room for 4 hours. My other idea is kind of bigger classroom areas where there can be several tables and several groups can play, and you can kind of drift around if they're playing kind of shorter tabletops, like something more like Betrayal at House on Hill or Sheriff of Nottingham, or the less of longer sessions of Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, etc. I have several events planned. I think that workshops would be fun. That's decided on the community. For example, how to be a better player, how to dungeon master.
We can't currently hear you. We still cannot hear you.
I see my headset disconnected. That's why.
Yep, you're good now.
All right, where did I leave off on?
You just finished talking about workshops for various aspects of playing tabletop RPGs.
Oh, okay. And then the other event, as 2 years ago, I was able to PSEO at the U of M, so I actually had the honor of being in their club. And the thing that I really liked from their club was they had a giant one shot for Dungeons and Dragons where there were about 6 to 7 different tables that were all playing in disconnected areas. of an island, and they all came together for this massive fun battle, and it was for a Halloween event. So I was also thinking that we could do a couple events like that for things like Halloween, Christmas, just like spring break, various other things. And then the last thing is just budget. I don't know if you guys can look at the proposal, but we're looking for funding here for things like materials for people, because not everybody can afford the roughly $150 to get the player's handbook. Scotty gets it. We're looking for materials that players don't necessarily have or would like to purchase. For example, the player's handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual. We'd also perhaps look into getting a few tabletops. Like we could get a copy of Betrayal, we could get a copy of Coup, and a couple other ones based on what people like. And then there's a couple other ideas for various things that would help enhance people's play and really create a community around this.
Okay, thank you so much. With that being said, let's go into our 5-minute questioning period. If you have questions, raise your hand or type it in the chat and I'll ask it. And then thank you for presenting. Derek says, looks cool, guys. Naeem says, funsies. If there are no questions, a motion to approve has been made and seconded. Perfect. So I will move you guys into a waiting room to have our 5-minute discussion period. Like I said before, feel free to stay after I let you back in, or you can leave. Either way, you will be getting the results either at the end of this meeting or tomorrow via email. Okay. Welcome to our 5-minute discussion period. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please voice them now. Oh, my B. I did not see that. Scotty, give me a second.
How's it going, folks? Yeah, so I know them. They were my residents last year, and I'd always see them playing, and I'd even jump in some games. But they really know how to lead tabletop and D&D games. They have great experience so far, and they also provide a pretty welcoming environment for these games. Even though I was a newbie, I've never played before. They made it really easy to learn and adapt. So I feel like that has great potential for new members, especially at IIT, and it really harbors you getting to express yourself in different ways depending on the character, as well as just meeting new people. So I really see good potential in this group. And having the fact that they can have one shots and shorter tabletop games is also great, because normally D&D can be like 3 to like 7 hours, depending on how long it lasts. So having that already is a great option, where if they just strictly did D&D for long sessions, that might not be accessible to others. So
Thank you for that, Scotty. Anything else? Oh, and yeah, I just forgot to remove that person as well. Elio says there's a massive presence of tabletop game players here on campus. I see this as a great option for a more inclusive campus. Scotty also agrees. We have like 2 minutes left. I'm gonna take that as previous question has been moved and seconded. So in your participants window, please vote yes or no. Five, 6, 7. No. How do we go down in numbers? I still need like some more of y'all. Couple more. 13. Okay. The motion's been made and passed. Joel, release a voting form. And we'll go to our last org of tonight. Comedy Club, which are you guys present?
Hello.
Do you have a presentation?
I did not prepare a presentation. I didn't know that we were supposed to, but
No, it's optional. Some people do,
okay.
some people don't.
So should I just start, I guess? Okay, so Comedy Club. Comedy Club will be a club about comedy, exactly what it sounds like on campus. So yeah, some of our ideas and events will include watching stand-up and just like comedic movies and stuff, but also the main focus of the club will be learning about the actual kind of stand-up industry. It'll focus on stand-up comedy specifically, not so much improv, but yeah, we'll go to comedy clubs and watch shows and stuff with the members of the club, and then we'll get in contact with the comedians or the runners of the comedy clubs that we go to, and then we'll kind of have a dialogue with the comedians and kind of ask some questions, get like a one-on-one interview with the club and the comedian. And then also we'll practice stand-up with the members and stuff, and then we can perform at the Bog or on campus somewhere. And then the goal would be if some of the members get good enough, then we can have them actually perform at a comedy club. So yeah, that's the general summary.
Okay, thank you for that. We will enter our 5-minute questioning period. If anybody has any questions, please raise your hand or type them in the chat, and I'll say them out loud.
Okay, I see a
There's a
comment in the chat.
challenge.
Why did the toilet paper roll down the hill to get to the bottom?
That was great. Elio.
Oh, can I ask? Yeah, okay, thank you. I'd like to ask one thing. How do you plan on advertising the club to the whole campus?
That was so bad.
Oh yeah, so the advertisements will kind of be like three main things for advertisement, or I guess four things if you count like word of mouth as an advertisement strategy. But one, we'll kind of have a booth at in MTCC and hand out flyers and stuff, speak about the club to people that walk past. And second, we'll hang up flyers and stuff for the club itself and for shows. And then third, the shows themselves will be advertisements, I guess. So like if we're performing at the Bog and stuff, then we'll advertise that. And if people come to the show and then they end up enjoying it, then we can kind of promote the club and be like, hey, if you like it, you can join. You can be part of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Elio, for that. We got some comments. We got Alejandro talking about inertia, and then Rachel said it's a good way to pair with Union Board and save money on talent. Ooh. We also have how much? 2 minutes left of questioning period. Scotty.
It's just like a question for Rachel Hirsch. I thought that students or clubs couldn't get paid by IIT to perform at IIT. I'm
They
just curious on
can't.
how that works.
No, they can't. But we pay outside like artists to come on campus. So this would be a way that we would maybe have fewer outside artists coming on campus because we have talent on campus. So that was one of the reasons that Kindred Spirits, that was one of the reasons that they were trying to, or they said that they would be, lightening the purse for us, like in the long run. And this might be another option to lighten the purse.
Yeah, I was
hate
not
paying those
implying
artists.
that we would be getting paid for performing, but it would be cool if we could get in contact with comedians and have them perform at IIT and stuff. So
Tips are appreciated. Thanks for that clarification, you guys. We have a minute and 21 seconds left. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve. That's been seconded, and the same motion was made. Thank you for that. I'm gonna move you to a waiting room, and we'll have our 5-minute discussion period. Like I said before, feel free to stay or you can leave. Either way, you'll be getting an email tomorrow. Okay, now that we are in our 5-minute discussion period, if you have any comments, which I will accept them in the form of jokes, please raise your hand or comment them down below and I'll read them out loud. Elio.
I absolutely love this idea. It's probably going to be a really good way of relieving stress for a lot of students. Doing comedy. That's one way I sort of release stress. So I think this is a great idea, and I think we should all motion to pass it.
Thank you for that. Derek says unique and fun. I like what they're doing. Just a reminder, you can always move previous question. And that would send us right to voting. Oh, we have one. 2 students walk out of an exam hall after an exam. One of them says, "Man, that test was so hard, I left the whole thing blank." The other says, "Oh no, I did the same. Now the teacher will think we cheated." I think that's why we need a comedy club. Anyways, I'm gonna assume you guys were. Oh, Barbara has something. I'm seriously concerned with their proposal. There is no budget or interested students listed. That is a fair concern. Derek says sounds like a good way to save money. With 0 interested students, yes. Well, it says there is a budget. I have to. No, I was just reminding that previous question was an option. I didn't actually move previous question, so.
The motion was made and seconded
When?
in the chat.
I guess I missed that. Oh, I thought you made the motion to approve. My bad. Before that though, Barbara does say maybe $3 for this, 50 for that. That's not a budget. Anyway, oh, thanks, Shahan, for doing both. The motion to move previous question has been made and seconded. In your participants window, please choose yes or no. And we will get to voting. By the way, this isn't voting to approve or deny them. This is just to move to voting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna need a couple more of y'all. So moved. I still need a couple more of you guys to vote. Perfect. The motion's been made and passed. Joel released a voting form. And then we'll move on to our next item on the agenda. A resolution for the preservation of the SGA logo, which ironically is on the bottom of the slide. Did not even realize that, even though I made the slides. Anyways, Derek, Ben, do y'all have some, should I pull up the resolution or do y'all? Okay, give me a second. In the meantime, you guys can like explain it a little bit.
Yeah, so I can talk about the resolution just a little bit. As you all have probably seen, there is a competition going on right now to basically update or change the current SGA logo. It's a big competition trying to get all student body involved and things of that nature. This resolution really was just put out here to address the fact that the Senate was not particularly informed of this matter. It was not given any exec report. It was not proposed to the Senate as like, hey, should we do this competition? We just found out about it 2 days ago when it was released just to the general public. And I'm personally of the mindset that the SGA logo is well branded across the campus community. You would notice that it's placed in prominent places like Herman Hall, the McCormick Tribune Campus Center. It is all around campus. It's basically our stamp of approval across the campus community. Not to mention, I don't personally see any reason for us to be updating this resolution or updating this logo. And I think that it would need a little bit more of like a convincing reason as to why this logo in particular needs to be updated, which is why this resolution was put in place. Functionally, this resolution would disband the competition and say that we don't change the logo until there's a compelling reason to do so. Now, if there is another resolution passed in the future that says, hey, it's time to put together a competition, here are compelling reasons why, I would be inclined to vote for that. But as it stands right now, the Senate, being informed at the same time that the student body is that the SGA logo and the branding is just being completely upended. in my mind, is kind of unacceptable. And that's where this resolution comes into play here. And I don't know if Ben has anything else you'd like to say.
I think you did a pretty good job hitting on all the main points of the resolution, Derek.
Okay, with that, I'm open for questions.
Okay, let's enter into a questioning period. Ryan.
Hi. So I think with this, with a lot of different legislation that I've written, something that I've learned is that it's really important to get feedback from the most relevant stakeholders. So I was wondering if you could kind of walk me through the process you had in terms of talking with the communications committee, and then the rest of the people who were executing this. I think that would be really helpful just to give us a clear scope of the due diligence that you did prior to writing the legislation.
Well, the legislation was written as a response to the fact that the Senate was not informed. There was no communication on behalf of the people organizing this competition. And while I think that could just be a genuine oversight, and I don't think there was any malintent with that, we do have a problem with the resolution, this massive school-wide competition, without the Senate at least being consulted on this, and the fact that we've basically put this together on 2 days' notice to address this issue. We didn't really have time to go talk to anybody because it was just kind of sprung on us in the first place.
So to be clear, sorry, you did not talk to any of the relevant stakeholders or contact them at all?
There wasn't time to. We saw the notification and we drafted the resolution, and it was submitted within hours of the contest being announced, because there is a deadline to submit items for the agenda to the Senate.
Thank you for that. Elio.
Thank you very much. I want to ask one thing. So I did see the flyers go up for this a couple of days ago, and I do agree that there should have been some due diligence when it comes to setting up something like this. There should at least be communication between SGA and the common, everybody that was setting up this event. Though now I raise a question that, people brought this up. So do you think that in the future we could possibly redesign the SGA logo, because there must have been a reason that this was brought up? Do you think that in the future, with proper communication, we could redesign the SGA logo?
Yeah, absolutely. The issue that we had was not necessarily the redesigning of the logo, even though we personally like the logo and think it serves our purposes pretty well. Really, the issue was just lack of communication. I guess kind of a bit of irony in that. But yeah, really the issue was lack of communication, and something as big as updating the entire branding of the organization and like how we present ourselves to the outside community really merited conversation within the Senate at large.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Shahan.
Yeah, so I do agree that on my part, at least, we did fall behind a bit on communicating to the entirety of Senate that this was going through. I don't know if this part should go into like discussion or not, but basically, the communications committees.
Is it a question?
It's kind of like a response to their questions. So I kind of should move to discussion. I can move it to discussion if needed. I mean, okay, I'll move it to discussion.
Let's do it in
Just to allow it to
discussion.
flow. Yeah.
I'll let you respond to it in discussion first.
Yeah. All right, that sounds good. Well,
That
then,
works.
I do have another question. Then I could just
Okay, perfect.
throw that in, so it's not like I talked for no reason. It would just be me asking. So, just to clarify, this resolution is like a direct response to the contest that we're putting out, right?
Not just the contest itself, but just like the idea that there was no communication to the Senate and there was no discussion with the Senate at large. That's really what the main issue is.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Gotcha. Thank you. I'll talk during discussion, I guess.
Patrick, and then we will need a motion to extend after that. if
Okay,
there are more
um,
questions.
So I guess, well, obviously we all understand that there is a communication issue, but I guess my question is, why do we have to make this such a big deal about it with this whole thing? Because I think that this is a very good idea. I think most people think it would. I honestly don't associate student government association with it. So like with this logo, because it kind of just looks like some random thing that would be an MTCC, nothing specific. But like, why do we have to make this such a huge deal out of it? Obviously there's procedure and stuff, but like, why do we have to take such a huge amount of time to do this?
Personally, I feel like our logo is our brand. It's what people associate with our organization. Like
But
I
that's
said,
your
this-
personal opinion. That's your personal opinion.
And
There are
that's-
more people in the Senate that want to change it than just for your personal opinion.
If I can respond to your question, this resolution was posed because it is our opinion. We believe that this logo is representative of what the organization is and that its branding is associated all across campus and that this is what students recognize SGA with. Now, if you personally don't associate the logo with SGA or don't immediately connect the dots, then so be it. That's fine. But I do feel as if that a significant chunk of the student body does. And if we want to have a discussion of altering, our branding, this logo has been around at least since before we came to the university 4 years ago, and I would imagine longer. I believe that this is like one of the main constants in SGA and that it merits a discussion as to whether or not we should change it in the first place. And that conversation belongs in Senate.
Thank you for that. If there are more questions, we need a motion to extend.
Motion to extend by 5 minutes.
Thank you, Naeem. And it has been seconded. With that being said, Naeem, you have the floor.
Thank you. So one question I had was, actually, are we allowed to ask those who spawned the competition any questions during this period, or only those who spawned the resolution in response?
I would say in regards to the resolution only at this point. We can ask those during discussion.
Okay, understood.
Do you still have a question or no?
My question was regarding the reasoning for the competition, but since I can't ask that now, that's understandable.
Perfect. Nick.
Hi there. So I just had a question for Derek. So this seems to be like a different branches of government dispute. So like the legislative is upset with the executive for like not consulting them before taking a decision. I'm just a bit confused why you decided to put like a resolution before the Senate. Typically, like when two branches of government are fighting, they go to the third. So why didn't you like seek an injunction from judicial board? It doesn't really make sense to me that like when Senate and exec board are fighting, Senate gets to decide. Like that, just the way you're doing it doesn't really make sense to me. Could you clarify when you?
Sure. I'm happy to clarify that. We perceived this particular conflict not between two separate branches of government. First of all, the executive board is not a separate branch of government. There are only 3 branches, and the executive board operates as kind of like a guiding entity, if you will. But the other part of this is that this is specifically the communications committee that falls directly under the Senate, and that all of the committees directly report to the Senate and are responsible, and we are responsible for the committee's actions and theory of government, if you will. So this is something that the Senate has the right to address if a committee is, taking action that the Senate deems an overstep without consultation first.
Thank you for that. Ryan.
Hello again. So my question now is, for the past couple of years, we've had a president provost forum. And this year we decided to change it up as an events committee, and we're doing a general assembly. And there's been a years-long precedent, and it was one of SGA's most attended events. So given that, why didn't you write a resolution for that? Or for that matter, for any decision that's a large-scale decision that a committee makes that doesn't get consulted by with Senate, which happens often?
Well, initially, we were under the impression that the President Provost Forum was not being exchanged for the General Assembly. We thought it was in addition to.
So are you thinking of writing a piece of legislation about that then?
How about we have him address the question that goes to the resolution first?
I
And
could be
then-
inclined.
Then we'll talk about that later. Thank you, though. Ben, did you have a question?
No, I was just going to comment on why we didn't do a President Provost forum.
Okay, so we still have about 2 minutes left in this questioning period. If there are none, I would entertain a motion to approve. Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. We are now in our discussion period, so much different. Shahan, I will let you start because I kind of cut you off, and then after that, we will go to Naeem.
All right, thank you. You're good. So, before I talk about like what the reasoning, or I will start by saying what the reasoning is. At least from my point of view, SGA in general has not the best brand image on campus. We're seen as stereotypically like very negative organization that doesn't get stuff done. We have lots of negative connotations associated with us. And as Vice President of Communications, I felt as though it falls under my purview to ensure and project the current brand image of the organization. And so what my committee had been working on for a while now was putting together a competition to rebrand the logo in order, not just that we want to rebrand the logo specifically, this is kind of like a start, but we kind of just want to rebrand the whole organization as a, an organization that's willing to reach out to students, help students, and wants to actually interact with the student body. That's why we made it into a student competition so that we can get students to input their own I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. So we can get students to provide their own input to the actual imaging of the student organization that is supposed to be representing them. I guess another thing that I would mention is that I was going to try to go back to earlier. I am sorry if I fell short on communication. I know that's what Derek's bringing up is like the primary issue that he feels. I just kind of went ahead and took the action from like an executive standpoint. Of course, that probably was not the best decision I should have made then. I should always go back to Senate and let you guys know that I'm doing this stuff. I was actually going to bring it up during today's meeting and I was going to announce it and make it like a fun thing. I guess this is how I'm announcing it now. Also, branding materials and marketing materials, all that stuff has already been shipped out and put out on media and everything. So I feel as though it would be bad of us. That's not the right word. It would not show as much solidarity within student government if we were to retract everything all of a sudden. So then going back to what my main point or what I'm going to try to say here is this resolution, I'm taking it as more of a communication issue, not an issue with the actual competition. And so I feel as though that's what I should be focusing on fixing. I feel like I'm kind of going in circles now, but you guys kind of got my point across, I hope. If there are any questions, please ask them because I will do my best to entertain them. Yeah, thank you for the discussion period.
Thank you for that, Shahan. Up next is Naeem.
Yes, starting off, motion to extend discussion by 5 minutes.
Perfect, thank you.
Any seconds? Okay, great. I want to ask if, say, for example, and I guess the question to Shahan and Derek, should the competition go forward, but the winner of the competition not be implemented without final approval from the Senate, would that satisfy both parties?
Can I reply to that?
Sure.
Yep. Okay. So I'm glad you asked. In the competition, in the thing that we wrote, the way the voting is going to work is we're going to let the student body vote to whittle down the numbers, but the final say comes down to Senate. That's how it's going to incorporate Senate's decision making. So I have no say on the final decision. I was going to give it to Senate. And in that, I guess we could add a clause, if you are all willing, to potentially make it so that if Senate doesn't like the final choices to select from, they can also just select to choose the current one, if that makes sense. Like keep what we have at the moment.
Thank you for that, Naeem and Shahan. Next we have, wait, Shahan, is your hand still raised? Like, do you have more to say?
Oh, no. I can put it down.
Okay, I just wanted to double check. Nick is next.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I just want to kind of reiterate that main point I had in my question. I think it was pretty obvious what I was getting at. This to me is a very clear like executive board powers versus Senate powers case, which falls squarely under judicial board's jurisdiction. Yes, executive board is not like technically a formal branch of government, but this still squarely, like he said, is a communication issue. Like, does he need permission from Senate to run his contest or does he not? That's a like clear cut judicial board thing. So I strongly would encourage all of you, as much as I love Senate, I would strongly encourage you to kind of not overstep your bounds and to like encourage this to be filed as a petition with judicial board. This is kind of what we're here for.
Okay, thank you for that, Nick. I'm guessing you were done or you cut out. Okay, you were, okay. And then next we have Derek. And let me give you a time warning. We have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. So unless there is another motion, we have 2 minutes left.
Thank you for that. First of all, I would like to say that this resolution was not intended to directly target any one person's decision or anything of that nature. You know, there is no animosity or hard feelings, you know, when posting this resolution. This resolution was simply to address the communication error and the fact that we do believe that that our logo is part of, you know, our culture and, you know, who we are, and it represents who we are as an organization quite well, and that discussion merited conversation within Senate. So Shahan, I would like to say this was not like supposed to be a direct attack on you or the communications committee specifically. It was just like there was a lack of communication and it needed to be addressed in our minds. Going off of that though, we would be happy to entertain, you know, modifications to you know, this competition and have it addressed specifically in Senate what like the bounds of the competition are. But we would not feel comfortable doing that until this resolution was passed and we're able to specifically outline what that looks like. And we would want to have a conversation to make sure we fully understand like what that competition looks like, and you know, everybody, all the senators are on board with that. Still don't believe that this is a judicial board issue quite yet. This is just a matter of parliamentary procedure, if you will. But that's kind of where I stand. You know, the Senate should have the right to determine, you know, what our vision is as an organization, where we want to go, and our branding is a direct reflection of that. It should have been consulted first. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Scotty. And then we'll be Rachel, and then Ryan, Patrick, and then Naeem again.
Yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. We've kind of been active in the chat, but I think there might be a possible way for us all to compromise for now, because I think, yes, this legislation, it might be good for future meetings, but I think for now too, the current issue, we should be addressed in the legislation or now if we wanted to settle it, of how we can compromise, because I do agree with Sandy that we shouldn't end the competition straight out. I don't think we should just vote on our own logo, because I feel like that's dishonest to say, oh yeah, submit it, and oh, actually we voted on our own. So like, why would they even want to put in the work at that point? And I feel like it would show that we're divided and we'd lose our credibility by just ending a competition or completely rejecting their designs. So I feel like we should still keep the students' interest involved as well. I know we're definitely thinking about us right now, but we should think about the students too and how they would feel if like Shahan mentioned earlier, if they already feel a distrust or not really fond of SGA already.
Thank you for that, Scotty. Rachel.
Scotty, I like what you're saying. I agree with you as well. maybe of the ones that Shahan gets, Senate can pick a top 3. Then the student body can vote on the top 3 that Senate has chosen. So it can be the opposite. But I also just want to say, I do think that this is a communication issue. I think everybody has already said this is a communication issue. I do not think we need to pass legislation on this. It is now 10:23. We have spent a great deal of time talking about this. I know students still have midterms. I personally am like a little frustrated that it has gone this long. So let's like keep it cranking and like let's get back on track and think about like what the reason behind this is. You're doing a great job, but let's push through.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Let's see. Next is Naeem. Actually, Shahan, I'll have you go first so you can talk about the voting real quick.
Okay, so really quickly, if I pull up the actual thing, give me a second, sorry.
I can pull it up too if you just
Okay,
quickly share it.
I got it. I mean, I'm just gonna read it, but
Okay.
in the voting period, I specifically said that SGA will determine the necessary amount of voting rounds, and the voting period may be adjusted upon the discretion of SGA. So we can adjust the voting however we want it to be. And the reason I put that in is because on this part, I was going to communicate with Senate that I'm not sure how you guys want to do the voting rounds, what you guys feel is best to do. So that's why I included that it's at the discretion of SGA to change, depending on whatever you guys want to do. So that's not like the current voting structure is not set in stone. It is subject to change. We have 2, 3, I can't do math right now. I think like just under 3 weeks of the competition left, and that's 3 weeks to change the voting. I just wanted to point that out there. If you haven't read the thing, if you go to the actually no, I can just drop the link for it. Sorry. Somebody else can discuss while I drop the link.
Thank you. I believe I said Ryan first, then Naeem.
Okay. I think I'm echoing consensus here and saying that this legislation seems like a complete waste of time, to put it bluntly. And I think that all of this could have been fixed if there had been a conversation prior. And this is it's to no fault of anybody, but I think given that it would make sense to vote no.
I'm actually going to move that we table this until Derek and Ben meet with comms to discuss a solution. But I was gonna mention that later. Naeem, you can go first.
I'll go ahead. So it's very obvious that the logo is something that us as Senate, we care about. It makes sense that we care about our logo. It makes sense that we care about how we're represented. Our brand is extremely important. And there are arguments on both sides that we need to change that brand. And so on and so forth, or that we need to keep it, or at least go through the right channels for making a change to it. I just wanted to say, if possible, and I know I saw the idea earlier in the chat, should like this not get resolved later on, would communications committee be willing to say, for example, choose something a little less say important, or something more temporary for a competition over, such as like a t-shirt design or something for Senate, as to avoid controversy in the event that this doesn't get resolved later. And Shahan can respond to that. I just asked.
Yeah, Shahan, you can respond quickly to that. Also, the motion has been made and seconded to table the resolution until our 2 senators who proposed meet with comms to create a compromise. That's the word. So with that being said, we shall move right along on our agenda. Can you guys still see my screen?
Point of parliamentary procedure, the vote to table, I'm pretty sure does require at least a majority vote to table.
Oh, I thought it was just a second, but we can take a vote. Please vote quickly in your participants window, yes or no. Also, I am one of those tired students, so let's vote quickly. Perfect. You guys went so quick this time. I love that. The motion's been made and passed. So it shall now be tabled until further notice. Y'all can talk about this in your meeting tomorrow at lunch hour, it seems. If you would like to join that conversation, reach out to Shahan. And then we have exec reports. Shahan.
Hello, everyone. So I'm gonna just ignore the first one because we've talked about it enough. The second thing on my thing is the link tree. We have a link tree finally running. It's on our socials. If I'm trying to get an organized list of all the links that we want to add to it. So if you have any links, any RSVPs, any forms, any surveys that you think need to be on our link tree, send them to me, DM them to me directly, and I will get them onto the link tree. We have new branding colors. We're not like forcing anybody to stick to this stuff, just for brand consistency on our social medias. Simple stuff. We're trying to start the YouTube series, just explaining like an intro to SGA, what SGA is, how you can get involved, all that cool stuff. Like, I'm stuttering. Like 1 minute mini videos. We need help for that. So if you are interested in that, please let me know. Just DM me again. Also, potentially looking at starting an ITSC mod project where certain student leaders can apply to be moderators. That's something I've been talking to with Student Life, aka Samir. More information on that later when we actually start developing that idea. Cool, that's all from me. I don't think everybody wants to hear my voice anymore.
Thank you, Shahan. Up next we have, I think, oh, it is me. So we have a committee form that only 12 senators have filled out, aka I only gave it to the newly appointed ones from spring. Therefore, all of y'all who were appointed this semester need to fill it out, and I will put you on an official committee. Yay! It will go out after this meeting in the Senate voting channel. Please, please, please fill it out ASAP. We want to see our committees doing good work. Next, we have Ben.
Hey all, before I get to the events on the page, tonight's discussion kind of made it clear that there are a fair number of senators who are not looking over, say, org proposals before they come to the floor. There were some kind of major structural issues with some of the org proposals tonight, and they were not discussed with the organizations in question. So please, please, please make sure you're looking over the proposals, make sure you're doing your due diligence. It is Senate who's making sure money is being well spent, and that we are not just approving anyone who says, hey, give me an org. So please, 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 please try to make sure you're at least skimming through the proposals. And as Chloe said, always consider how much money something is going to be. So if somebody does not have a structured budget, if their budget literally has the word maybe in it, maybe give the org a second thought. Other than that, the Career Services is doing an alumni mentorship panel this Friday, November 5th. If you want to learn how you can connect better with alumni for a career mentor, that's a great place to do it. There's also the Global Alumni Gathering this Saturday, November 6th. There is a link for that in the announcements channel on Slack and also on ITSC. You should have also gotten emails about it from various parties beforehand, so you should have links for that. Game night is November 12th. Please RSVP at the link below. Do it by Friday. Get into the raffle to win a 42-inch TV. Currently, your odds of getting that TV are better than, 1 in 20, so get in on that raffle. And then finally, we're doing the Brave Space Alliance training a week from Saturday. Please sign up at the reservation form. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Up next, we have Rachel.
I won't even do the top two because Ben already hit them, but I made a very cute video for a global gathering. So hopefully you guys watch it. It's very cute. And I won't even talk about game night either, except for the food is going to be killer. We just got the menu and it looks really tasty. It is going to be walking tacos and wings. So get excited. I think that the food is going to be really, really awesome. It's going to be halal walking tacos too. So all the meat will be halal. I just wanted to give you an FYI. I am taking my comprehensive exams starting next Friday. So I am going to be off a little bit in the next couple weeks because I need to read and write a big fat paper. So I just wanted to let you know that if you are not hearing from me, it's because you're not going to, because I'm going to be crying and writing a paper. And hopefully I pass, so then you'll never hear me talk about this again. But you will want to reach out to either James or Georgina or T. So I just wanted to give you that info. Thank you, you guys. This is so nice. Literally, I'm almost in tears right now thinking about reading. And also, Homie hasn't been here for a while, so he also says hello and he misses everyone. Homie doesn't care, doesn't give a care.
Thank you for that. And Rachel, good luck. Sorry. Up next, we have Senator Spotlight. This week, they are from Comms. Okay, Shahan, you can say why you selected them, and then I will reveal who it is at the end.
Sure, I chose this person because they've taken a, what's the word I'm looking for? They've taken an initiative to be more involved with the student organization, and they are being involved, I should say, helping out with all of the great projects that we're putting together and have been present at all of our meetings. So yes, great person, helping out a lot. I'm sorry, my brain is not working right now because I'm like dying. I need to sleep, but give it up for the person.
Yes, we'll take a drum roll, please. It is, oh my goodness, I forgot I have transitions. Akhil, congrats on being selected this week. I need to send out my certificates, is what this just reminded me of, but you will be getting one. Congrats again. Keep doing the good work. We love our active senators who do great work on their committees. Up next, senator reports. Do we have any? No? Okay, then I'm gonna move to open floor, which, do we have anything? No? Okay, at this point. Oh, Isaiah?
Yeah, sorry, I could not find the
You have what?
sorry, I couldn't find the raise hand feature. Sorry, Shahan's computer was like echoing. I just wanted to say, as the vice president of Lettuce Club, we are planning our iceberg formal for the winter. So if there are any, guys know any student organizations, anything like that, that would like to join us being me and Shahan here at least as an SGA, please let us know. We would like to have this be kind of as collaborative as possible. We want to make this a big event. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Wait, what kind of formal? I didn't hear the first part.
Iceberg for formal. It'll be winter formal.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, thank you for that. Samir also says U Farm is hosting a cleanup day on Friday from 12 to 2 at U Farm. Okay, now that we have gotten past open floor, seeing that there is no new business, I'll tell you guys the results. The resolution got 0, 0, 0 because we didn't vote on it. The student org proposal for comedy club. Actually, I'm gonna start with Hawk House because Hawk House 13 yes, 3 no, 4 abstain. Congrats on passing. IIT tabletop role-playing games got 20 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain, and then comedy club got 7 yes, 4 no, and 3 abstains. And with that being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please unmute yourselves and say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed, please say nay. Actually, please don't. Okay, the motion's been made and the chair is not in doubt. This meeting